Compliments of the season. Happy New Year all. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about regulatory and compliance filing required of all registered entity by CAC as provided for under CAMA. You have the likes of annual return, 14th schedule by financial institutions and insurance and deposit companies, and biannual statements of affairs required to be filed by all incorporated trustees. Today my emphasis is going to be on biannual statements of affairs required of incorporated trustee. And when I say incorporated trustee, I mean all non-business or non-profit organizations that are registered with CAC, associations, club, religious organizations, and the likes of all of that. Okay, so aside annual return that you're required to file, CAMA 2020 in section 845 introduced what is called biannual statement of affairs, and every registered incorporated trustee is required to file this notice twice a year, January and in July. Why is this provision incorporated into CAMA? Okay, one of the reasons is, before now, we all know that incorporated trustees do not really get the heat of regulatory and compliance filing, tax filings, and all of those. They don't usually get the heat because they are non-profit organizations, they are religious organizations, they are charity organizations. So that heat was not really on them. But it was noticed that a lot of persons started to hide under such registered organizations to launder money. So the law decided to say, okay, I want to see your activity every 6 months. I want to see your current status, I want to see your income, I want to see your assets, I want to see your liability at every 6 months to be able to monitor the activities and ensure that people do not hide under these registered organizations to launder money. That's like one of the major reasons that that provision was introduced. Okay, so when are you supposed to file biannual statement of affairs? It's filed twice a year, every 6 months. So we're in January now. This is like the first days of January, and your due time to file is now. So you have the grace of January 1 to January 15 to file, and then from 16th January going forward, you start running into penalty. And then when it's June, you have the grace of July 1 to July 16 to file. After July 16th, you start running into 15th, you start running into penalty. Okay, so this is why I had to put out this video to remind everyone. A lot of persons are not even yet aware of these provisions. There are very few companies that have currently filed biannual statement of affairs. Very few incorporated trustees, that have started to file their biannual statements of affairs. This is like an awareness, this is like a notice, this is like a warning. This is your grace period to file your biannual statement of affairs of the second half of 2020 for this January 1st to January 15th. You have that grace period to file before your penalty begins to count. Okay, what is required of this biannual statement of affairs? What's the content? What are you supposed to file as CAC? So basically what the law wants to see in this notice as provided by CAC, there's a form. It's filed online now with the CAC automated post-incorporation portal. But the content of your biannual statement is supposed to show the registered entity details. That's your association or your foundation or whatever you call it. Your registered entity details and your assets, your income, and liabilities if you have any. So when you go to the portal, you're going to see the form, and it's going to have provisions where you fill out all of these details. So basically the content of this notice is for the commission, that's CAC, to see your details, your current income, your current liabilities if you have any, and the assets of the organizations. Simple. So every 6 months you come and then you fill out all of this content or all of these requirements to CAC. Who can file biannual statement of affairs? Okay, so every post incorporation filing at CAC, it's done by accredited agents of the commission. So accredited agents are lawyers, of course, who are accredited with CAC. You also have chartered accountants and chartered secretaries. So you're going to need like an accredited agent that will do this filing for you. Of course, I am an accredited agent, so you can always reach out for that. So or there's also another provision that CAC have made for the organizations themselves to approach CAC and require for like an organizational access or account to be able to administer their post-incorporation filing. There's also that option, but it's a bit tedious. You can explore it and see, but I would advise that you have an accredited agent who's a professional to help you do this filing, or even if you're going to attempt the organizational account as provided for by CAC, you should also get some professional advice on how to go about this filing. So biannual statement of affairs required by incorporated trustee is the emphasis of today's video, because we are in January and your window for filing have started to count. After January 15th, there's going to be huge penalty. So what is the penalty for not filing biannual statements of affairs on time? Okay, so the penalty is as provided for under section 845. All the trustees will be liable for a penalty of 500 naira daily for as long as the default lasts. As long as the default is counting, every trustee will be liable for a penalty of 500 naira every day, including the organization. So for example, let's say you have 5 trustees in your registered organization, including the organization, making it 6. So the 6 of you are going to be liable for 500 naira every day. That's like 3,000 naira daily times the number of days that you default. So let's assume that you haven't filed for the first half of 2022 that had just ended. So from July 15th till today is about 160 something days. So you're going to have 3,000 times 100 and I think, is it 67 or 68 days? So it's about 500,000 or 555,000 thereabout if you do the mathematics. So you're already having huge penalty from the first half of 2022 that you have not filed. This is the second half of 2022. You don't want to run into that kind of penalty. And they say in law, ignorance is not an excuse. You're not going to wake up one day and tell CAC, oh, I was not even aware of this law. I was not even aware of this provision. Ignorance is not going to be an excuse, because the commission have tried to make publication on their website, on newspaper. And when this particular CAMA was passed into law, the notice was everywhere. But I know that these are certain things that we will always not pay attention to, and this is why I'm bringing forth this video to us. So please, if you have an IT registered, you know anybody that have a registered IT, this is time for you to start to file your biannual statement of affairs so you don't run into penalty. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about the other requirements, the other regulatory and compliance filing that is required of us at CAC. See you next time.